As you can see, we are jumping straight into it on this video. There's no time to waste. If you watched part one, you've seen how long it takes to lay this stuff down properly. So right now you just saw me take down the headliner, and I'm going to flip the camera around and show you what I did to get it all taken out, and we'll start laying down some Dynamat on the roof. So like I was mentioning in the last video, I didn't know where I was going to go on the next project, whether it was going to be the roof, the floor, or the doors. But it all just started cascading into one. So in order to take these panels off, I had to take this off. And in order to get the headliner off, I had to take the B and A pillar plastics off. And so it just turned into this whole thing where, all right, well, we're dropping the headliner, we're doing the roof next. And that's basically so I can put all that back together. And then we'll take the carpet out, do that whole deal, and jump on the doors. So anyways, onto the A pillars. You've got two 10mm bolts that are held on, or actually hidden by these little clips. They just pry off with a little small flathead screwdriver. And then your mirror has two Phillips right here. The little hook that the mirror goes on spins and comes out. The sunglass holder, you hit the last one, drop it down, and you'll see this Phillips that holds it. And then from there, you just kind of just pop it out. So same thing on this side. And then once you get to this B pillar, there's going to be plastic that's held in with two clips right here and right here. They stayed in on this one, so I'll have to take them off and transfer them over. And then this upper piece, you'll have two 10mm coarse thread bolts that hold it in, and one clip right here. This clip is very, very hard to get out. You might even break it, and it's pretty unique. But I'll put that part number in the description below because I did break one. Also, there's an SRS little plastic plaque looking deal. That actually is two pieces. You pry it down, and there's a 10mm right there. So that's going to be all of the front stuff. In the rear, you've seen how we took off the plastics on the bottom. That was pretty much it. I thought these 10 mils were going to be part of the headliner, but it wasn't. What was actually holding it was these clips right here. These are the hangers for your clothes, and it just spins out. So similar to the front, spin it, pull it out, and then it'll drop down. So the last thing to mention is that this light isn't part of it, so you don't have to take it off. I did, but it's actually part of the headliner. And there's actually a harness that goes all the way down over here. And if you see that clip right there, or that hole, and that one right there, they lead down to these two plugs. So you unplug those, and then you just get out a prying tool, pop those two, and now you have that whole harness just sitting on the headliner, and it's all dropped down. From there, the headliner was like this. I just tilted it like that, and I took it out through there. You have to fold it a little bit. I didn't get any creases. As long as you're careful, you can get it out. And so I've got it out. It's going to get cleaned because it's actually really dirty for some reason. But aside from that, we are going to get on to laying down some Dynamat. We're going to do this major piece, this major piece, and this major piece. Oh, and I forgot one more thing. These handles right here, these you just pop off the sides by hand, and there's two 10 mils, and that's going to hold the headliner on both sides. So just forgot about that. But anyways, we'll get on to the work. Okay, I just finished wrapping up the install on the roof, Dynamat only. We still need to do the Dynaliner, but I'm noticing a few things. One, I've got about maybe 3 hours of install time getting the Dynamat on, which is amazing because just the back cab took me the whole day. But I'm noticing that is because this is just a way flatter surface, less of those rolling ribs to deal with. So that back cab with all those ribs and all the different turns and whatnot was just taking a long time to get the Dynamat laid out good. But the headliner is coming out great, and I'm going to show you guys exactly the progress that we made. So here is the roof. We've got the rear section, middle, and front. The front I had to do with one long piece. There's actually a whole strip under the sunglass holder and then 2 separate pieces on the side. If I really wanted to, I could have cut that whole tri piece out of one, but it would have taken 2 people. What happens is once this thing rolls over, you see that crease? Once that stuff's creased, it's not coming out. So I just figured I'd make my life easier and I would just do one, and I even still had a hard time with it, but these pieces were easier to do after the fact. And then I did that one inside the sunglass holder, which you can see right there, and I used this scraper, plastic scraper, to actually roll it out or flatten it out, make sure it's all touching. And then on that sunglass holder itself, I put a few pieces. You can see some there and some there, and then I put the pieces that I wanted to on the outside, I put them on the inside. That way I don't have to worry about the headliner not fitting because of space. So there's actually pieces all inside of there on some of the parts that had a good amount of resonance. So right now we're just going to jump into installing the Dynaliner, and then I've got to shampoo the headliner itself. Alright, we have the roof dynalined and ready for the headliner to go back on. Now I did use a 1/4 inch on that front half and this last portion, but I used 1/2 inch on this section right here, and the reason is the headliner has a thick foam strip across this section and across this section. So by me putting a thicker strip where there isn't any on the headliner, and the headliner having the 2 rows, will equal all of that out, and I don't have to use so much of the 1/2 inch material because it is very expensive. So that's my game plan. I hope it pans out perfectly, but for now you can see I even put it under the sunglass holder and cut it as best as I could to wrap around all the edges and get as much coverage as we can, looking good, not, you know, just thrown around everywhere and rolling ribs and all that good stuff. So we want all of the interior parts to fit like it did stock. This is before, and this is the sound after. All right, now that the roof is done, I've got about 6 hours of that, and you couple that with the back wall, and we're well over 14 hours of labor on just installing the sound deadening on the roof and the back wall. We still have the floor, we still have the doors, but we're gonna keep going forward on this video. We'll wrap it up today, and you'll see tomorrow. Okay, so here's the headliner. Before we throw it in, we've got to clean it up. It is very, very dirty. See this light gray? That's the actual color. It is clean right there because that's where the rubber hangs over, and then that's the inside of the cab that's visible. So we've got a lot of dirt all over these crevices. You can see just how dirty it is in there. So what I did was I mixed up some Chemical Guys shampoo in this little Bissell shampooer, and we're going to fire it up It'll be a little bit of a process, but basically, let's see. Basically, you're just gonna spray it, scrub, and then pull back. So we're gonna do that to the whole thing. Check out this dirt that we got out of this thing. Look at that. I think I'm going to put just clean water in the tank instead of water and formula and do another pass because that's just crazy. Okay, so before we do the floor, I'm gonna do the tunnel. So I took this piece off of right here, disconnected the e-brake cable and the shifter box, and we'll just put a few pieces underneath with a little bit of Dynaliner wherever we can to quiet up the tunnel. Then we'll knock out the floor. Okay, well, that was a heck of a lot of rolling. You have to be sure to roll out the mat. You want to make sure that it's touching, otherwise it's not going to be doing anything with a bunch of air in between. So it's got to get rolled out. You can see all the crevices from the floor. My cutouts for the body mount bolt, and these are the floor drains. That one is especially important to not cover up so you can service the body mounts in the future. You could cover those if you want, but I don't want to. I want to keep it nice and tidy. I'll cover those with Dynaliner, but I will still keep a cutout with the Dynaliner for the body mount bolt. From there, we're just going to keep putting Dynamat all the way down. I think I'm going to do front to back, so I'll jump onto the other side. But to keep these videos short, I'm just going to show you, the process, the initial process, and then we'll jump forward to more of the material already laid down. Check it out, guys. This is day 6 of roughly about 6-hour days. We're just finished with the floor, and we've got about 90% coverage, 95, which was the goal for me the whole time. I did leave this open because there's the foot for the seat that sits on there. I left this little pathway open just so it wouldn't chafe the wire. I was worried that it would chafe on an edge, but that's just me. You don't have to do that. I did go up as far as we could there. There is insulation above that, so if the dash ever comes out, we'll do that, but I didn't this time. And of course, we punched out all the holes so we can get to the cab mount bolts in the future. These grommets are just drains, but this one is for the trailer harness, which I will be adding the factory harness in there. So we'll just pop that cover off, and then there's a wire that runs to the fuse box. And then this is for the seat mount. So I do have some 1/4-inch spacers, and I set them in perfectly so we can put it down with the bolt, and it's still hard mounted to the body the way it should be. We did some Dynamat under the center console area, under the shifter, right here in the center of the tunnel and under the SRS module. But other than that, this is ready for Dynaliner. And if I jump over here, I can show you the Dynaliner. I already did one side, so we'll move this stuff over. Okay, so this is going to be the 1/2 inch Dynapad right here. This stuff is super beef. I cut it to keep the cab mount bolt visible as well. And then because this is an AC vent that goes to the rear, I wasn't able to put the 1/2 inch because it passes through this piece down to the other side. So I only put an 1/8 inch. I might have been able to squeeze 1/4 inch, but it would have really been fighting the plastic. But I may do a pass of 1/8 inch over. And then that'll equal a 1/4 inch, you know, top and bottom, 1/8, and then we can put the carpet on. But that's just kind of nitpicking. We just really need to get the rest of this done and still have to do the doors, but we're gonna finish up this video with the floor and the headliner, which is already done. Both of those complete. I noticed putting this back was these are very light and thin and kind of noisy. So these are from the driver's side. So when you compare that noise to this and this, you can see the difference. So it was a little bit extra material and time, but I think this is totally going to be worth it in the end. Oh, and the reason why I cut that a little oddly, because the sheet was all the way up to the back wall, was because we're going to do 1/2 inch there and back. I didn't want to do it right here because it was way too thick to go under the vent. And if I do 1/2 inch after the vent, it's going to block it. So we did 1/4 inch. It'll have more than enough room to travel by the time it gets to the 1/2 inch here. And I don't really have anyone in the back anyway, so it shouldn't matter regardless. But we'll be doing 1/2 inch on top of the tunnel right there. Before doing the floor, I almost forgot we need to get the B-pillars done. So there's one done right there, and I wanted to show you before we kept going any further. But basically, you've got strips of Dynamat with Dynaliner, 1/8 inch on top, inside of the cavity as much as I could. Basically what we did in the back of the C-pillar. And right here, you can see I haven't done it yet. It's a little hollow sounding, not the worst, but I did notice that these little guys, they are very loose and make all kinds of racket. So if you look around the white one, I put 1/8 foam of Dynaliner and I snapped it in. It was a little hard to snap on, but it is much, much better sounding than it was before. And just like that, we've got 90 to 95% coverage of the rear seat frame and the cargo area. These places on top, I actually Dynamated underneath so that it still got serviced, but the cubby that goes on top won't get affected for height and fitment. So that was my plan behind all of that. I did put these brackets back in loosely so I knew where to avoid. Seat belt goes here, so I didn't want to go all the way up there. Still kept the seat latching assembly all factory as far as height goes. We're not going to get too crazy with the Dynaliner in those areas. Those are going to be seat belt mounting bolts, the center frame for the seat belt or for the seat, and then the other one for the opposite side. So from here, we're going to do 1/2 inch Dynapad on the passenger footwells in the back, and then we'll do 1/4 inch on the frame and 1/4 inch in the back. I might do some 1/2 inch right here because that's where the subwoofer goes. But we'll see. I'm just gonna kind of start laying things out, see what fits. You can kind of get a feel for the Dynaliner when you're laying it out. So we'll go with that. And then the compartment goes over here, so I might do an 1/8 or a 1/4. I'm really not sure, but we're gonna get it done, and then I'll update you with what I ended up choosing. Before, and this is the sound after. Alright guys, this is it. So we've got Dynamat all the way back. We've got the Dynaliner all the way back. We did 1/2 inch by the foot, 1/4 inch on the rest. So 1/4 inch on everything else, all in there. This is gonna be 1/2 inch from like what I mentioned in the last video. So from here, I'm ready to shampoo the carpet, do a little bit of the audio that I need to get wrapped up, and then I could start putting in the seats and obviously the B and C pillar trim. But we're gonna end this video here. I am on day 7 of roughly 6-hour days. I'm totally tired. It's been a lot of work over and over, just repetitive cutting, rolling, measuring, all that stuff. But now we're getting to the part where I can actually put everything back together, and we still have to do the doors. I'm expecting another 20-ish probably for the doors. So I actually only have a sheet and a half left of the Dynamat out of the 9-sheet pack. So I need to buy another pack, more than likely more Dynaliner, but I'll know when I get there. Anyways, this video is done. Thanks for watching. Check out my other videos if you haven't already.